Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to episode 26 of the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is Rebecca. I am a knitter and knitwear designer based in Edinburgh, and this is a podcast or a vlog all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I would like to be casting on in the not too distant future. And oh my goodness, it has been 3 weeks. It won't feel like 3 weeks because I filmed the last episode a week early, so like a week before I published it, because we were in Dublin when the episode came out. So it has not been that long in terms of publishing or like uploading videos, but it feels like it's been so long since I sat down and talked about my knitting. I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm so excited. One of the reasons for that excitement is that I have a new camera. It was a recent purchase, and yeah, when I first started filming I was using a camera and then it broke, and it was a pretty old piece of kit, so I moved on to filming my laptop, my iPad, which was way easier, but the quality was not as high. And now we're back to a camera and I'm feeling fancy. So I hope this is all working. I did a little like trial clip and uploaded it to my laptop and checked the sound quality, so hopefully it's working. One of the very cool features, I want to get some yarn to display this feature. One of the features is it like zooms in really nice, so like if I hold this up, oh look at that. So I'm pretty excited. So yeah, I hope this is an enjoyable viewing experience, and let's hope we get through this without any technical difficulties. The batteries are charged. I've done a test run and I'm super excited. I'm also back at my OG filming spot. It is such a grey overcast day here in Scotland and it is beautiful. It looks so good. I actually just took a picture of the tree right outside my window, and I'm going to put it here so you can see it. And like the outside of the leaves are just turning yellow orange and it's still green, and we have a tree on this side of the house and more trees on the other side of the house, so every window I look out of right now I've got like orange leaves and it's so nice. But at my usual spot it was so overcast that I was like blowing out, because this is the perfect light for filming. So all that to say, I'm back in my original spot using some fancy equipment and I'm feeling good about it. It feels like a good day. I washed my hair yesterday, I'm wearing a new finished object which is literally a little bit creased, let's not look at that. And yeah, what I really like about filming here is this is where I do most of my knitting. This is like a huge swivel chair and it's technically a love seat, so it's like a 1.5 people. I mean technically I can sit with another person on this chair, but you have to be very like up close and a bit tangled up. But what I love to do is I sit right in the middle with this blanket across me, cross-legged, with my laptop exactly where you are, either reading a book or watching TV, and surrounded by knitting, like under a pile of knitting, and it is the dream. So it feels nice to film from the place I normally knit. It feels very apropos. So, sorry, I'm talking so much before I even talk about the knitting, but I've got one more thing to say, and that is a ridiculously huge, ginormous, massive thank you. In my last episode, I launched my very first pattern, the Cargill Sweater, and the response was absolutely, completely overwhelming. It went so much bigger than I thought it would go. I think it spent like the best part of a week in the top 5 of Hot Right Now on Ravelry. So many people purchased it and put it in their queue and visited the page, and yeah, I'm so grateful. It was a very warm welcome into the world of design, and it's funny because I think my family and friends have always kind of like, they've known for a while that I do the podcast and that I knit, but this gave me like a bit of clout. Like I actually sold some patterns and they're like, wow, this is amazing. So that was really lovely, and not that they don't take me seriously, but you know what I mean, like it gave it a bit of like it made it feel a bit more official than just like I film myself talking about knitting. And it really, I think it's settled down now. It coincided with the first week of a new job for me, and for about 2 weeks, well yeah, that's been 2 weeks now, about maybe 10 days, only the start of this week I think it started to fade. I really was anxiously, like very, very anxious for a week. I was expecting someone to message me and tell me why everything I'd written down in the pattern was wrong. Despite it being tested and tech edited by 2 different tech editors, I was still paranoid. So there was a real imposter syndrome there, but it started to settle down. People are making the pattern, people are swatching, I'm seeing like versions popping up on Instagram. I'm checking on Ravelry and the projects page, and it is, it's like, I think there are currently like 70 projects, and every day I go back and I see like 1 or 2 more people have started, and I get to look at the yarn choices. It's very exciting. So yeah, a huge thank you if you visited the page, or you saved it, or you shared the post, or you bought the pattern. I'm really, really grateful. And yeah, it's been a really lovely few weeks. A bit stressful, without a doubt. A new job and your first pattern release is quite a lot. Oh, and just a casual holiday to Ireland in the middle is a lot to fit in, but it felt really good. I was going to say something else. Oh, the pattern is also now available on Lovecrafts for those who don't use Ravelry, and I put the link of that below. I will say one of my biggest learnings is I should have been ready with that earlier, and it wasn't really fair. Like, it took me 2 weeks to get it onto another platform, and all the hype was on Ravelry, and that is my big takeaway for the next one, is to have a secondary platform that's not Ravelry available immediately. There is, I put it down below, and I've dropped the price on that pattern for 2 weeks because I think there was an introductory pattern launch on Ravelry for the first weekend, and then those who weren't using Ravelry missed out on that chance. So I've dropped the pattern price now, and I'll probably put it up sometime next week when I remember to do that. But the price is now lower, that should reflect the same price as the introductory discount on Ravelry. My last thing about that is that sometime probably next week or the week after, I'm going to film a bit of a extra episode about the experience of designing. So it's not by any means like a professional walkthrough. It's really just like, I designed my first pattern, and and it went pretty well, and here's everything I did. So I want to talk about like the designing element, and the grading, and the tech editing, and the testing, and the launching, and talk about the things I would do again, the things I wouldn't do again, my learnings, some of my takeaways. I've got some thoughts on the size inclusivity elements, how I chose pattern testers, like all those sorts of things. If you have any questions, please leave them below, or send me an email, or drop me an Instagram message. And I've got a good structure in my head, but I'd like that to be as informative as possible. Okay, we're now done with the admin. I'm trying to see on my screen if I can see how long. 7 minutes, and I have not yet discussed knitting. Well, I have, like, indirectly, but let me talk about knitting. So I have 2 finished objects today. Oh, I've cast on a lot of things, and I've had some like epiphanies. It's been the year of realising. It's been the 2 weeks of realising stuff. I've realised stuff. I realised quite a lot about my designs and some of my own designs on my needles, and a bit about designing going forward, which I'm excited to share. And I found a bit of excitement for knitting again. I don't know, I feel like it felt like a bit of a power through at the end of the Cargill test and stuff, and I'm feeling very excited right now. A lot to cast on, and I have cast on 3 new things since the last episode. I stopped last weekend and realised I had 7 sweaters on my needles, and I'm trying to count the bags in front of me, and this does not add up to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, 6, 7. Okay, so let's start with what I'm wearing, because it's my first finished object, and that is pretty wrinkled, and I did not realise how wrinkled it was. I put it back in my wardrobe after wearing it on Monday, and obviously did not do a very good job of folding it. Mum, if you're watching, don't tell me off. So this is, I'll put a picture in as well of what it looks like finished, because I'm not standing up, I'm too comfortable, and the spinning chair I will fall over and knock everything. So this is the Daily Pullover by Purl Soho. Sorry, it's designed by Paula Pereira for Purl Soho. It was originally designed in their linen quill, and I have knit mine in Kinross 4-ply. This is my first ever fingering weight sweater, and it has been on my needles for 5 months, I think. Maybe less, maybe 4 months. I started it when we went to Italy, which I think was in the end of May or the start, maybe the first weekend of June. I took it as like a really easy plain knit, and I will be honest, it's not plain as in airplane, not plain as in boring. It wasn't 5 months of knitting. June, July, August, September, okay, like 4.5 months. It wasn't that long of actual knitting. I just put this down so many times and then put it back up and then put it down again. And I actually don't think a fingering weight sweater takes that much longer to knit than a DK weight sweater. I finished the sleeve, for example. It is a slightly cropped sleeve. It's like, it's not quite bracelet length, but I actually really like it like this. It's actually shrunk a little bit since I wore it on Monday. It probably sits like there. But I keep kind of like rolling it up, and I think that's really wearable this way. Maybe I just look like my sleeves are too short, I don't know. So I probably could have added 10 more centimetres to the sleeves, but I finished a sleeve in like a weekend of knitting, like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, like two and a bit hours on Monday and 2 and a bit hours another day. We caught up on all of our Rings of Power episodes, which I think were 3 episodes, and then maybe a little bit of extra knitting outside of that. So yeah, it didn't feel like it took long to knit. I just kept putting it down and picking it up and putting it down. And I think I wasn't crazy obsessed with the end finished object. So I kind of lost, it was a process knit, and I find that my best knitting is when I really want the finished product and I'm really enjoying the process. I like both. And this, like, I kind of wavered in and out of both. Like they changed. But I will say I am completely obsessed with this finished object, and I'm doing everything in my power to not cast on another sweater in this yarn. So the reason I love this is the yarn. I will say I'm not sold on a v-neck for me. I actually think it's nice. It's a bit hoochy. I think the V is not deep enough. I think I would like the V to be maybe here, which honestly it's not far off. I'm not particularly busty, and so I feel like I can wear quite a deep V without feeling like I'm flashing anyone. I feel very comfortable with it. I don't feel like I'm like getting out a lot of chest because I don't have a lot of chest to get out. So this for me kind of sits between like a high V and a low. It's like a weird middle ground where actually I think if it was there, I would be a bit more comfortable, and maybe I could block it to there, honestly, I don't know. But it sits kind of comfortably a bit higher, and I'm not crazy about the finished object. That being said, I think I will get so much wear of this because it is the most perfect fabric, and I can just, like, I put it on this morning, we woke up and opened the windows, and then I was getting dressed, so like the room was a bit chilly because we'd opened the windows to like let some air in. So I was a bit cold, and I put this on and I was like, oh, like it just felt so good. And that I think will keep me coming back to wearing this. And I also feel very okay, no one is creased, but I feel very elegant. I feel quite put together. It feels like a cohesive thing to wear. I'm just wearing it with a skirt today. But yeah, I think I will get a lot of wear out of this, but I'm desperate to cast on something else on this yarn, but not in this pattern, if that makes sense. The pattern is very well written, it's size inclusive. I think the thing that I didn't love about knitting is that obviously with a v-neck, it's a v-neck raglan, so you knit back and forward a lot before you join here. And that combined, like the knitting back and forward combined with the fingering weight yarn was the slog for me. So the next pattern I'm going to knit that's fingering weight is definitely going to be a top down raglan that's got a round neck so that I don't have to purl anything. And yeah, it's lovely. The thing that sold me about this is the yarn. So the yarn is Kinross 4-ply, which is 100% lamb's wool. The wool is not from, I feel like the wool might be Australian. I should check that. But it's spun here in Scotland, and it's sold by a number of different people, but I got mine from Wee County Yarns. I first came across this yarn at Beautiful Knitters, which is a yarn shop in London, and they had a sample on this up, and I touched it, and I could not believe that the yarn I was touching was the same as the skein. Like, I was like, how? This is not the same yarn. Like, this is soft and buttery, it feels like cashmere, it's super high luxury, and this is just a yarn. But it softens up so nicely with washing and blocking. I don't actually think that my sweater has softened up as much as the samples that I felt both there and at Perth Yarn Festival a few months ago. I don't know if that'll happen with like washing and wearing, or if I should have washed mine a slightly different way. It is definitely softer, and had I not felt the sample I would be delighted with how soft this is, but I know it can be softer. So from that perspective I'm like, oh, I just wish it was at like 10% bit more luxurious. But it is, like, I'm wearing it next to skin, which I think for a fingering weight sweater is really good. Like for me, I think a fingering weight sweater is something I would generally wear next to skin, so it feels good to have it that way. And yeah, I'm so pleased with it. The yarn is pretty inexpensive. I had the bit left over and I've thrown it out, but I used all of 5 skeins with like 2 feet, like a metre left. That's not the same thing, like a metre left of yarn. I bought an extra skein, so I wasn't playing yarn chicken because I did have an extra skein, but I didn't crack into that at all. I've not even wound it up. So this yarn is like £8 for 50 grams. So what I have ultimately is a very well fitting, beautifully feeling, like luxury sweater for £40. So I'm feeling really good about this. I already have a sweater's quantity in grey. I will be casting on the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Maid. I've had that pattern for so long. And I've got two like plain sweaters, like stockinette and the round sweaters on my needles right now. So when I'm looking to cast on the next one, that's what it's going to be. Like, that's how I've categorised this. That being said, I've got some lentils to knit soon, so maybe it'll be a lentil instead. They also have amazing colours. They're real solid colours, but really lovely tones. So this is called Porridge. And I've got a grey called, I think, Granite. And there's a beautiful, beautiful cobalt blue called Saltire. Yeah, I'm really into it. I will be buying more for sure. But I need to just temper myself because I don't need to cast it on right now. The yarn is not going out of stock. I can come back and buy it later. Wow, that was a lot of talking about this one finished object, but I feel like if it was on the needles for 4 months, it deserved that much talking. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. So moving on to my second finished object. It is mostly dry, but a little bit damp, and I have not woven in the ends. So it is like a mostly finished, but not quite finished object. It is back into the zone of the Cargills. When we were doing the test knit, my test knit was so nice. And when we were knitting it, we kept having this like running joke about what different things could be knit with the Cargill stitch pattern because it's so squishy. So we were like, a pillow cover, a vest, a t-shirt, like all these different things. And one of the things I did in fact knit was a cowl. So here's the cowl. Oh, someone at my knit night said I should put a compilation together of all the times I put things on my head and look ridiculous, and this would be, I think, the cover shot. Oh, it feels so good. It does feel a little bit damp. I feel, you know when it's still damp and you can just smell sheep? Okay. So, oh, so warm. You know when it's still damp and it's not quite holding its like structural integrity as much as you want it to, but you know it will when it's dry? That is how this is feeling for me right now. So, this is the Cargill Cowl. It is, oh, look at that. It is a dip stitch pattern in the round, in a cowl, and it is super cozy. It's the same gauge as this sweater. It is not a complicated pattern at all, but a couple of ideas for this were, oh, did I get mohair in my eye when I put that on? I think I did. It's nice and long, so you can just wear it like all the way up, like tucked under a coat, or like, you know, if you want to wear it nice and high. But the way I love to wear these cowls is if you just fold over, it gives you like an extra layer of warmth, and it gives you this like cowl neck, you know, like a sweater with a big huge cowl neck. It feels kind of like that. So yeah, I'm gonna take it off before I overheat. So this is the Cargill Cowl. It is in the dip stitch pattern of the Cargill Sweater. It's a Cargill Cowl. Wow, too many C words at once. A few notes on this. Firstly, this is going to be released in 2 weeks, so the next podcast episode, and this is going to be a charity release, so 100% of the proceeds are going to go to charity. I've picked the charity. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to talk all about that in the next episode when I release it. I'm also going to match some of the pattern sales up to a certain amount, so I'll talk about that next episode, and I'm just really looking forward to it. I think it was tricky because it's not the world's most complicated pattern. It's pretty simple, and with a cowl, you know, there's no increasing, there's no decreasing. You're casting on, you're working the stitch pattern, you're casting off. There were a lot of people who maybe wanted to knit something in the stitch pattern but didn't want to commit to a whole sweater, so this would be great for that. Or who maybe weren't really confident with the all over stitch pattern, so this would be a great way to practice and get a bit more confident before deciding if you want to knit a whole sweater in it. It's also just super high squish, like it's such a nice like squishy thing. Say you want to gift it to somebody but you're not knitting the whole sweater, it'd be a great way to do that. But I felt like it had value and there was interest, and obviously I've knit a sample, I've got some people knitting previews, so like they followed the pattern and they're knitting it in different yarns. But I also was like, well, this isn't the most complicated thing, like somebody could work this out, so I feel we're charging for it. And so a charity sale feels like the best way to do it for me. I don't particularly need the income from it. I'm in a fortunate place to do that, and the Cargill sweater release did better than I planned, so I'm looking forward to being able to donate some money from the sales of this. So I'll talk about again all that more next episode, and for now, yeah, I'm gonna wear this. We're going pumpkin picking. We've been pumpkin picking. My partner and I and my boyfriend, we started dating in September, and one of our very early dates in October a few years ago was to go pumpkin picking. So we went back last year to the same pumpkin farm and to the same place for lunch afterwards. And so it's kind of become like a bit of a tradition that we make spiced apple juice and go to a pumpkin farm, pick out a pumpkin. And it's so cheesy, but I love it. And usually we'll for a roast dinner afterwards. And this year we moved. So we were in London before, so we went to a really great place called Redhill. If you're London or like in the south, it's such a nice farm. I totally recommend it. And then we went to, this year we found a new one. So we're going there on Sunday. So my plan is to take this and hopefully weave in the ends before then and take some pictures so that I've got pictures of the pattern. And yeah, it's done. I'm really glad it's done. Also because there's also a junior Cargill coming. I swear, I'm done after that. Like, there's no more Cargills after this. But there's a junior version coming, and I was gonna cast on. I actually did. It's right here, actually. This is the benefit of me sitting in my knitting chair. I did cast on for the Cargill Junior, but I don't like the yarn that I used. It's a bit too round for my liking. So I pulled it out. I've ordered some more yarn. I'm gonna donate this yarn because I'm not gonna use it. Otherwise, I think it's going to someone in my knit night. But I wanted to have the cowl finished before I cast on the kids pattern, and then to get the kids pattern knit up by next episode because the tester call for the children's size is coming in the next episode. Okay, so those are my finished objects. I was like, I'm gonna have nothing to talk about today, and we're 20 minutes in and I'm still talking nonsense. Let's talk about some projects. So I have 2 sweaters on my needles that I've not worked on really, like a couple of rows here and there, but not really proactively. So everything I'm going to talk about is a new cast on, and of course they're really far away from me now that I've moved. Okay, one is in this bag and one is in this bag. Let's talk about this one first because it's not had quite as much love since we got back from Ireland, but it could get a lot of love there. I took this and my cowl to Ireland. We went for 4 nights. We got the ferry from... We actually got on the bus in Glasgow. It was quite a cool experience actually. You get on the bus in Glasgow and then you get off the bus just before you get on the ferry, and then they just go on the ferry, the foot passenger, and the bus is a different bus is at the other side waiting to pick you up and takes you into the centre of Belfast. I think it took about 6 hours from Glasgow into Belfast, and it felt very doable. Like it didn't feel very taxing because you spend quite a lot on the ferry, so really enjoyed that. And then we were 2 nights in Belfast, and then we got the train down to Dublin and spent 2 nights in Dublin. And I had a sweater planned, and of course I cast it on because, tell me this isn't the most Irish colour. Again, so much wrinkles. It is of course the most Irish colour of yarn that I could have picked for our trip. So this is the beginnings of a Stockholm pullover by Petite Knit. The Stockholm pullover is a drop shoulder design with a chunky collar. That's about all I've got to say about it, I think. I've made a Stockholm before. I love it. It's probably my favourite sweater. I find it's the most versatile. I reach for it so often. And so I was really excited to make a second one, and this is what I'm making. So the thing is, I'm not very good, like I'm not bad at it, but I get a bit bored of working back and forward, and that is the stage I'm currently at. So this is where we're at. I've done the back panel, which looks really small, but it's on a round needle. I've done both the front panels. I have joined in the round. Oh, look at that focus. And now I just need to work the front panel until it measures the same as the back, and then I can join in the round. And from there on, it is easy breezy sailing. When I first knit this, I'm pretty sure that my gauge for the very back, this, like maybe the first 8 centimeters here, it was way too tight. And I was knitting this we took a bus trip from Belfast up to the Giant's Causeway. It was like a whole day trip. It took like 9 hours. You get the bus in the morning and they stop at loads of places. It was nice. It was a lot. It was nice. And I took this for the bus. And I don't know if it was like the bus journey. I don't know what it was, my gauge on this first 10 centimetres was so tight, and I felt the fabric and I was like, this fabric feels really dense, and I measured it and I was like, yeah, my gauge is too tight. So I didn't rip back because I'm too lazy and I know it'll block out. I think it'll block out, but I just like made a conscious effort to not, I was really like gripping the yarn, so I just stopped doing that, to be honest. My gauge was getting really loose, and so I think I was getting a bit nervous about, oh, all the birds just moved. Yeah, my gauge was like getting a lot looser over the course of like 6 weeks. My gauge had really slackened off, and I was like, what is this? And it was making knitting a bit challenging. So I think I overcorrected, and I was really like death grip on the yarn. But yeah, this is where we're at. It's gonna look so good when it's done. I'm gonna look so pale. I already look pale, but with this, I'm gonna look so pale. Great. Okay, the yarn I'm using is the exciting thing. So this is Mondim by Retrosaria Pomar, and it's beautiful. Oh, sorry, I'm so excited about my camera. I can't believe it does this. I can't believe I have a camera that does this. Ooh, no, don't do it. There we go. And it's beautiful green, and also Filcolana Tilia in the colour slate grey. It's not slate grey. It's called like, I have Filcolana Tilia in the colour slate grey, but that's not what this is. This is green, some khaki maybe. And actually the mohair is much more of a khaki than the main colour, but the fact that you hold them together makes for quite a relatively bright green. Like, it's muddy, but it's not khaki. I wouldn't really call it khaki. I'd say it's more like a moss green. So yes, it's not been touched since we got back from holiday, and that is because of my next project, which is knitting in the round. And so like last weekend I had a bit of a stop and a think, and I honestly was like, I have 7 projects on my needles, and I felt stressed by them. And I don't mind having lots of projects until they start stressing me out, and then I feel overwhelmed. And so I had a bit of a think. I finished this, so that was when I was like, okay, we're powering through, we're finishing this sweater. So I finished this one. I've ripped out another sweater, which I'll talk about next, I think. And then I like prioritise the rest of them. So I'm just looking at like a funny, like a very loose increase there that's kind of caught my eye. This is a raglan top down knitting in the round sweater, and I want this done for a certain time. So I'm focusing on that one. So when this one is done, then I will start focusing on this one. Because I'm not very, like, I'm like a couple of days away from joining in the round for this. And then that can become my work knitting, which is knitting in the round until you're done, because I knit through all my knitings. People ask me how I get so much knitting done. I only really do that when it's stockinette, but I found like there was a day this week where I think I've done like 8 centimetres on my other project every day at work this week because I've had so many meetings, and it's just been stockinette in the round. So if I have like 2.5 meetings, 2.5 to 3 hours worth of meetings a day, I'm just easy peasy. And this will take the place of that once that one is done. So I'd like to have maybe I'll have some progress on this for the next time, but I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to, I realised when I had these 7 sweaters that I was not making progress on any of them, because I would pick one up and work at it for 2 hours, and then pick up the next one and work at it for 2 hours, and I wasn't really making progress because it was all so like incremental. And that is fine, but I like to see progress more readily. Okay. From one plain stockinette sweater to the next plain stockinette sweater. I've wanted a black sweater for forever, and if anyone watched my 10 sweaters for fall video actually kind of blew up. Oh, it blew up, but like it got a lot of views. I think it got a lot of followers from there, so hi if you came from there. It is very close to becoming my most popular episode ever, which is surprising because I just talked nonsense about sweaters I like. But I was talking about wanting to knit a black top down sweater, and I knew I wanted like a 21 stitch gauge, fingering weight and mohair. I had the yarn for it. I like my no frill sweaters, but the neckline on it bothers me a little bit. It's a very wide neck, and so you can always see the t-shirt I'm wearing underneath it, and it is really something I want as a layering piece, this black sweater. So I was looking for something else, and it happened to be like the same day that Sophie from the Knit Prog Girl released her Semper Sweater, and so I cast this on. I've been asked a couple of times to do a comparison of raglan sweaters, and I'm so here for it, like I'm ready to do it. However, I really want to knit the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Maid, and if anyone has any other really good raglans I should try, please tell me. So far I'm comparing the Lento, the Semper, the No Frills, and the Cozy Classic. But I love raglan sweaters. I find them so enjoyable to knit. I just love them. So the one problem I have with this sweater is I don't know which way around is the right way and which way is the wrong way. There are short rows, but I just actually I can find it from my, oh no, I was going to say I have my stitch marker. My stitch marker off. Okay, so this is what we have so far. It is gonna, that looks like a, does that look like some short row shaping? Maybe it's this way. Can't tell. Yeah, it's blowing out like crazy, but it is a beautiful black fluffy sweater. This is, I'll put a picture of the Semper so you can see what it looks like. It's a really classic fit. It looks really lovely. I think Sophie has like trimmed down the sleeves over the test knit. That was some of the feedback she got. It has got this chunky folded neck, and that was the thing that drew me to it. I have not sewn down my neckband. I never, whenever, and I know I should. So when they tell you to, with a folded neckband, you can cast off the last stitch of the collar with the first stitch of the collar, and it knits the band down. Or you can cast off and you can sew the band down. I am under the impression that if you knit it together, it is more stable. I never do it. I find it so fiddly and so stressful. I just don't like it. And there was no way in hell I was doing it with a black sweater. Like a black mohair sweater, or you want me to pick up a stitch and knit it together? Like, no, thank you. I'm not doing it. So I just pinned it and it's not been folded yet. So I just have some light bulb markers there, and I will fold it at some point. So we're flying through, to be honest. I had to order some more yarn. I don't think I have enough. I'm using Drops Flora and Drops Kidsilk mohair, and I am, just knitting away. I joined, this has been, so that's a pretty good sign. I really wanted last weekend to, this is also making me look so pale. I think it's going to be so wearable. I'm so excited. I think there are lots of things in my wardrobe that I just would throw on a black sweater with, and it will become a very go-to sweater. It's also really nice because I knew when I was looking for a black sweater that I want like a pattern. I didn't want anything with picking up stitches because black is just so hard to see, and it just, you know, so things like the Stockholm sweater, I wasn't super confident in doing it in black. I probably would do it in black now, but I wasn't super confident because I thought, oh, picking up those shoulder stitches are going to be really tricky, and you have to pick up a lot of sleeve stitches, like that's not going to be fun. But for this, you just cast on. There's a bit of short row shaping. I have to pick up some stitches under the arms, but like a minimal number of stitches under the arms, and that's it. I finished the, oh wait, there is my stitch, so that must be the back. There we go. What was I saying? I finished the yoke before this week started because I was pretty eager to be joining the round for this week at work, so that I could knit through my meetings. And let me just do a quick measure and tell you, I think I'm at like 22, not quite, oh yeah, 22 centimetres, and it's Friday, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, yeah, 4 days of knitting on this so far, and it's 22 centimetres, so I think that's pretty good actually. I am going to the Netherlands the weekend after next. I am really planning to visit Stephen and Penelope. If there are any other yarn shops in Amsterdam, I'm in Amsterdam, and I'm only there, and getting there late on Thursday. I'm there Friday, Saturday, I'm leaving lunchtime on Sunday. I've got a party of a friend, a 30th on Saturday night, and I think on Friday night I'm going for some dinner with friends. But I have probably Friday during the day to do some yarn shopping. So Stephen and Penelope's on the list. If there's anywhere else that should be on the list, please tell me. But this, I want to take this with me. Like, I really want to have this done by then. So that is 2 weeks, and we've got a car trip next weekend, so I think this is going to be doable. I think the body I want to make like 35 centimetres from under the arm. That is the same measurement as my Stockholm sweater that I love. So I think I'll do like 30 stitches, so like another 8 centimetres, and then the ribbing, and then I pick up for sleeves. And yeah, I did fewer yoke increases than the pattern called for my size, and this could be because of my gauge. I'm happy with the fabric, so I wasn't too bothered. Like, the fabric to me looks great. It's not super dense. Sorry, itchy eye. It's not super dense, but like, I think it's not going to be see-through. So there's a possibility, I've not checked it, there's a possibility that my gauge is looser than the pattern. But yeah, I'm just knitting until you know what, I'm just knitting until I just knit until it fit the yoke, like the yoke fit me quite comfortably. It was the length I wanted, it was the width I wanted. I put it on some try-on cords and I just kept going. So that's where we're at with this. This is very much like to be honest, I'm enjoying the process. Like I really just enjoy knitting in the round. Who doesn't enjoy knitting in the round? I mean, some people don't. Some people really hate like the stockinette body. I love it. Mostly because it really grows for me without me paying attention to it. We've not been to the cinema for ages, but if I go to the cinema, I knit on it. At work, meetings, it's my perfect meetings knit, and so yeah, I like having sweaters like this. I pretty much always have something on my needles which is stockinette in the rounds because it just feels good. And yeah, that is my Semper. And it will almost definitely be finished by next episode because hopefully I'll be wearing it. I actually will need to film the next episode of it in advance too because when it goes live I will be in Amsterdam. And so I need to film it before then. Okay, we have done. Okay, let's do a little giveaway. I'm excited for this. So the podcast had its 1 year birthday between the last episode and this episode. So today is, oh yeah, actually bang on, not quite, I think it was the 4th of October was when I put up the first episode. And so it has been I keep saying 2, it's been 1 year, not 2 years, 1 year since my first episode. Oh sorry, it's gonna crinkle. And my plan had been to do a giveaway in the last episode, but honestly it was chaos the last time I filmed. It was just so busy and I felt like I wasn't really in like it felt like a bit of a rushed episode, and so I was waiting for a bit more of like relaxation and chill. Sorry, I washed my hair last night and so it's feeling a bit unruly. It really is, look at that. Anyway, so I have got a bag to give away. So you may remember I don't even have it here, it's next to my bed, my Willow Bay bag. It is a little dinky yellow bag which I use for socks. I am slowly making progress on my socks, but not enough to show you. It's been like 10 rows. So I got a message asking from Willow Bay Bags asking if I would like a bag to give away on the episode, and I was like, well, I do have a birthday coming up. It would be amazing to do a birthday giveaway. So I'm not going to show it because it's in its packaging and I think it'd be nice to receive it in its packaging. But I'm just going to double. Oh, it looks so good. I'm just checking, like, should I put a note in there or something for me? Maybe I should do it. That will be fine. I don't think so. What I'm gonna, oh, there is a, no, that's just a logo. I will put a picture here of what the bag looks like so you can see it without me opening the beautiful packaging. And I will send this worldwide. I will also say my last giveaway, somebody didn't contact me for the prize, so I will send out the prizes to the 2 people which did get back to me, and the 3rd one will just go back in stash and I will probably put up for a giveaway at some point in the future. But yes, this is a dinky little bag and I would just love to know, yeah, it's October now, I'm feeling very autumnal. I just love to know what's making you happy right now. Is it the weather? Is it finally sweater weather? Are you off to Rhinebeck this weekend? You're excited to see some knitting friends? Have you started a new job? Have you started a new school term? Are you really just enjoying making some nice food at home? Have you got a project you need to do right now? Yeah, I would just love to know something that's making you happy right now. I will just do a random comment generator for anyone, every comment, so if you don't want to be picked then just let me know, but otherwise, yeah, please leave a comment below and I will draw a prize in the next episode and then we'll get it shipped out and it can go to anywhere in the world, and it's coming to you. I love my bag. My little yellow bag is so cute, and it has a little clip on the inside for stitch markers, and since I got that bag I have now added stitch markers to the inside of every other bag I use. I'll show you them in this, but there's too much knitting in it to show you. But I've now done that. So this bag, when I say it's changed my knitting life, it kind of has, because I now change the way that I deal with all my project bags. So a Willow Bay bags, I will also link Willow Bay down below in case you want to have a look. They have some really nice bigger bags as well. So if you are looking for a new bag, I think the big ones are really nice for, especially for autumn. They've got like a really nice, this one's the baby pink version. I have the yellow, like the mustard yellow version. There's also like a red version, which I think would be so nice for autumn. So have a look. The prize was donated for the giveaway. My own version of the bag I bought myself. So just for full transparency, this is gifted to me to gift to someone, and the bag, or the version of bag I have, I did make myself. I did not make myself, I bought myself. Who do I think I am? Okay, so what do we have left? Yeah, so leave a comment below if you want to be considered and I'll pick someone out for the next episode and gift it then. So you'll have like a week and a half. I'll film it in like a week and a half, so you have a week and a half to comment down below. Cool. So what do we have left? I've got some acquisitions, a little bit of acquisitions, not crazy acquisitions, but some. And I've got one project left and one project to rip out. So before I get into the next, actually, let me talk about the next one and that will run me into the next two. It's all a bit over the place here. So I went to Ireland. I've already mentioned it. Actually, quick coffee sip break. Had the coffee. There we go. So as I mentioned, I went to Ireland and everybody was wearing cable knit sweaters. There were so many, and I've already, as you may know if you followed for a while, been on the hunt for like the perfect cable knit sweater for so long. And I don't know what it is. It's a bit similar to colour work if I'm honest. Like I'm just a bit fussy. Oh, the sun's burning through. It's getting a bit brighter again. Please don't get too bright. Wait another half an hour, please. And so everyone was wearing cable knit sweaters and I just wanted one so badly, and like I say, I've been all over the place and I still don't think that this is the cable knit sweater. Like I think I'm still going to keep looking for one, but this has been so perfect. So I came back from Ireland with some yarn. Now I'll get into that yarn at the acquisition section, but I did a little swatch of this. Like I had something in mind and I did a bit of swatching, and it was just as a cargo release, and I had like a bit, you will see that it's got some similarities to the cargo. So this is the swatch that I knit. So it's kind of got this like horseshoe cable and then this bit here, but I wasn't sold on it. I don't love a horseshoe cable. There's something about it that I just don't quite love. And I was playing around a lot with yarn, and I was really determined to find something in stash, but I could not find what I wanted. And then I found the perfect thing. And this is my second swatch. Would you look at that? Firstly, the little it's a horseshoe cable, but it's got like a knit stitch down the middle, which I kind of love. And this colour, I am struggling so much to get this colour to show up on any camera. And when I take a picture, I've showed it twice on Instagram. Once I took an afternoon light and once I took a morning light, and the colours are so different, I can't believe it. And so yeah, that is pretty accurate. It is like a caramel. It's somewhere between caramel and like burnished gold. It's stunning. So this is one strand of, oh, let me get my power to put it down. So all this to say, I made that swatch maybe 10 days ago. I have almost a whole sweater to show you. So I am using two yarns that I got from knit.co.uk, who I think is incredible. I think they're opening a, see, I'm swiveling already. I think they're opening a bricks and mortar shop, unfortunately nowhere near me, but I will continue to shop online with them profusely. This is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool in the colour Dijon. And this is Tynn silk mohair in the colour burnt sugar. And I love how like this is sugar and this is mustard, and somehow like they both completely capture the right colour, but they're the same colour. Like yes, this was a burnt sugar. Yes, this was a Dijon mustard. But yeah. So those are together for this beautiful little swatch. And I kind of, like I said, had the Cargill on the mind. And I just went for it. Like I drew up a little chart. Yeah, I drew up a chart. I had an idea in my head and I drew up a chart. And I just went with it. And I have a sweater. Not quite. I'm halfway through as well. I've just started a sleeve. This is the Dornie Sweater. Oh goodness. It's also a bit wrinkled. So it is a top-down raglan cable knit sweater with like these symmetrical, it's kind of like, they're not quite horseshoe cables, right? Like you can see why they're similar to horseshoe, but they're not quite. And they have this like ribbon purl detail. I'm obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. It's got this really big, thick, chunky, folded collar. I have pretty much all I've knit on, with the exception of my cowl, all I've knit on for the past 2 weeks has been, like when we got back from Ireland, all I've done is knit on this and knit on the Semper Sweater. That has been it. I have been like a woman possessed. And and it's knit up so quickly. It is on 4.5mm needles, and I am a loose knitter, so that's probably the equivalent to a 5mm for just about anyone else, I think. The cables are also quite infrequent, so it looks really, it is all over cabled, but they're not every row. They're not every 4 rows, they're like every 8 rows or so. So you're doing a lot of knitting in between the cabling. I think when you're knitting an all over cable sweater, it's usually that 4th row where you have to cable everything that really slows you down. But in this, that's not every 4th row, it's only every 8 rows, and so you just fly with it. It's got this like 2-stitch raglan, which I really love. It's a very similar construction to Cargill, if I'm honest. Like, it's a very similar blueprint to Cargill, but obviously completely different. Oh, that sunlight! How dare you? Okay, should I put the blind down? Oh, it's really blinded me. I think we're okay. I'll bring my hair over to hide my own eyes. So yeah, it is just absolutely flying. So I stopped and I blocked it at the yoke because I wasn't sure if the yoke was big enough or like deep enough, and I blocked it, and then I was happy with it, and then I stopped and blocked it again when the body was done. I didn't really need to do that, to be honest, but I was desperate to, I think the body came out, oh no, I really need to close that blind. Is that slightly better for the colour? I think it actually might be better for the colour. So yeah, I tried on the body because I didn't know if it was going to fit. Cables block so much, so I really wanted to know at that point, like, is it going to fit me the way I wanted it to? And it does. I will say, I did the same with the Cargill, and I did the same with the Care as well, actually. When I set out to knit the, when I set out to knit the sweater, I had in mind that it would be much more oversized, and then when I knit it, because I'm trying it on as I go, it ends up fitting like a glove, and that's not oversized. So the Cargill sweater, like my sample, is significant. Like, I think I would have picked 1 or even 2 sizes bigger if I was to knit it, if it wasn't my own pattern. But because I knitted to fit my body, I was surprised by the size of it. And the same with the Care sweater. I'm making a 3rd sample. I want to size up in that one because that was like the original kind of look I was going for. Although I love my 2 samples I have. And with this, I had in mind like an oversized cable knit sweater, and it is not an oversized cable knit sweater. It is a pretty bang on perfect fit sweater. So it's a champagne problem, really. Anything else to say about this? I don't think so. Oh, it's called the Dornie Sweater. Dornie is a place in the north of Scotland, and it is home to somewhere where you might be familiar with if you're not from Scotland. And it's called Ellendon Castle. It's a beautiful castle where you have to like go over a bridge to get there. It's stunning. I used to drive past it a lot. My mum grew up not far away from Dornie, and it's a lovely little place. But we went a few years ago, 2 years ago, my brother and my sister and my brother's girlfriend and I drove up and did like a little road trip around Skye, and we stopped at Dornie on the way back, and it was the first time I probably like stopped and like touristy looked around the castle and things, and that was really nice. And I just think the word Dornie is the most cozy sounding word. Like, it sounds so good in my mouth, like Dornie, like, oh, cozy. And so that's what this is, like texture and like outdoorsiness. Like, I'll show you, I put a picture of the castle because that really like, it really captures the same thing, like the texture and like the shadows, but also Dornie is just so cozy. So this is the Dornie sweater, and yeah, I've picked up for the sleeve. I completely forgot about this till right now, actually, is that I can't decide what to do with the decreases for the sleeves. So that's something to work at this weekend. I have a couple of ideas, and I started with one of them and I don't know if I like it. So what I probably need to do actually is knit a swatch and then practice some of these decreases. Under the arm and under the sleeve is ribbed. So there's not a cable. Look at my hair caught on my needle. So I'm just gonna have to do a bit of thinking about how I want to do some sleeve decreases. I had an original idea and I'm not sure if I love it, so we'll rip back a little bit, but it's okay, it knits up incredibly quickly because it's on big chunky needles. I'm 150% making a second sample. I'm gonna make one in the size up, so I'll have one that fits like perfectly and one that's a bit oversized, which I'm excited for. And I am going to work with a pattern grader for this one. So I got my Cargill Junior sweater graded. I tried to make the kids' numbers work, and I find it really hard. Like, I find it quite easy to grade for myself and to make things fit for me because I know how an adult body works. I've also done a lot of sewing, and so I think I understand fabric and like the way that fabric should shape and drape quite well. I'm not an expert, I'm not educated in it, but like I've got a good grasp of the concepts. But with the kids one, like I just could not make it work. Like it just didn't click at all for me. And so I reached out to a pattern grader and had it graded up, and she's done an amazing job. It was so enjoyable to work with her. And so when I finished this one, I think with, like, I mentioned it already, I started a new job, and so at my old job I wasn't necessarily feeling very challenged in the last maybe 3 or 4 months, and I wasn't getting a lot out of it, and so I really turned to pattern. Like the pattern grading to me was the real challenge, like the thing that was really pushing me mentally or like intellectually, was like wrapping my head around how to grade patterns, because work wasn't doing that for me. I started a new job and I'm only a week in, and I can tell you already that my brain is being used significantly more. And so I just know that combination of that and the fact that this weekend is like kind of quiet, and then we've got a wedding, and then I've got the Netherlands, and then I've got a course that I'm really excited about doing actually, and a birthday, and then we're going to the rugby, and by that point we're already in the 3rd week of November. And then I've got 2 weekends I think with nothing, and then we've got another wedding. Like it's a really, really busy couple of weeks coming up with events, which is all lovely. But I just wouldn't have the time to sit down and properly get into this, and I don't really have the desire to do it because I want my weekends to be relaxing, because my brain is being used so much during the week at the moment, and I think that's just going to get more and more as I get more into my job. And so I just felt really good about messaging. So after we finished the Cargill, I messaged her and I was like, hey, I'm working on the sweater. Here's a bit of an overview. Would you be interested in grading it for me? And she came back and was like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to working with you for this one. So I'm so relieved. She's also called Rebecca, which is amazing. She's worked with some other people. I know that Heather and Hop's most recent pattern has been, I think, graded or tech edited by her as well. And I found out about her from Sophie, who's a knit Purl girl, who used her when she was grading her kids' Aosta cardigan and sweater. So it was a great word of mouth, but I just thought she was amazing, and I was so pleased with the Cargill Junior. And as soon as she came back to me and said, I would love to work with you on this sweater, the sense of relief that went through my whole body, I was like, okay, good. Now I can just focus on knitting this up the way I want it to look, writing it up for my size, getting my size chart sent over to her, writing out the pattern, and then I don't need to, like, I know I think I could do the grading, but I know it would be stressful and it would take me a number of attempts, and it would take me time that I don't want to spend on it. So I'm really excited to be working with her for this. So we're currently working to a mid-November test call, and I think that's going to be reasonable. I think all I need to send her is like, I just need to finish the sleeve. So honestly, like by the end of next week I probably could already send her the pattern information over, and that gives me a bit of time to work on the second sleeve, so that's all ready for a tester call. And then my plan is to knit a second sample along with the test call, and I'm going to make a second sample not using mohair, because I don't need, like, they don't want it to be mohair. The Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool is like 100, maybe 110 meters. I don't have a ball band. Normally I do. Normally I just have yarn ball bands everywhere, but I did a half attempt at tidying up, so I don't have one out yet right now. I don't think I do anyway. No, I don't. So I'm going to use like a slightly thicker Aran weight yarn, and I've not decided exactly what I will be using. I'm considering something like a Jameson and Smith, or Jameson's both have an Aran weight. Something that's around about like 80 to 100 meters per 50 grams. I think would be perfect. The alternative is to use Pure Gint, which is Sanna's Garden Pure Gint, which is slightly thicker. They have a very beautiful tweed coloured one, and I'm thinking that could be the right thing to do. Yeah. So if you have any, like, I'm finding that the thing is I always want my cable knit sweater to be the perfect cable knit sweater, and that's a cream version. Like, I need to make a cream version, and so yeah, I'm trying to find what that will be. But yeah, I have been obsessed. Like, I've just not, like, as you can tell, like, I knit a whole sweater in 10 days, like a whole entire body of a cable knit sweater designed and knit in 10 days, because, and the only thing that slowed me down is the stopping and blocking. It's heavy. It's pretty heavy so far, and like, it's probably one of those sweaters I will wear outdoors, potentially with a coat on, for until it's very, very cold. And I'm so sad I'm not having it finished for pumpkin picking. It'd be so perfect for pumpkin picking. And I've just flown through it. The only thing that slowed me down is blocking. It takes a while to dry, so I I think it was on the blocking mats for like 2 days when I did the yoke, and another 2 days when I did the body. So I've literally knit what I've knit so far in 6 days. It has just been so addictive, and I really want to work out what to do with these sleeve decreases so I can just start knitting on it again. And that feeling had me reflecting a little bit on designing, and I've got a couple of other designs on the needles, and it kind of made me stop and think about those and like, I guess just designing for me going forward. I currently have the care in testing, and I'm so glad it's already in testing because I think I would be a bit intimidated to release a new pattern after the Cargill. So I'm glad that that's already in testing and I can't stop that, like it's still going, which is really nice. Then we've got the Cargill Junior coming and this one coming, and that's pretty much taking me up to like January with releases. And I really want, like with the care, I've got yarn to make my third version. With the Cargill, I love the dip stitch pattern so much, and I find it such, like what I want are to be knitting things which are interesting and a bit different, but also fun to knit. Like I like to walk that line between like a relaxing and a challenging. Like it relaxes you, but it has to engage your brain a little bit. So with the care, like it's got this colourwork section that's like sparks your brain, and it's really Moorish. And I say with the dip stitch, it's a really Moorish stitch. And this, obviously, I've knit a whole sweater in 6 days, pretty much. So it's that Moorishness, and that's what I want in my designs. Like I want designs that people love to knit and that you want to knit over and over again, but they're also like classic enough to be able to wear often, but interesting enough that, you know, like classic enough that you always reach for it and you can make one in 5 different colours and it still works, but interesting enough that you enjoy the knitting process. And that's what I want. And so I was applying that mentality to some of the things on my needles. And so I'm kind of drawing the line under some things. One of them is this sweater. So this is getting frogged. This is my, I don't even know what it is. I don't think I have a name yet. But this sweater with like the almond, it's also really creased. Everything today is really creased. So this sweater is a saddle shoulder sweater with the saddle was running down the arm, and it was in this yarn combination is beautiful. It is Filcolana arwetta and Filcolana and drops kidsilk mohair, and it is incredibly soft and incredibly beautiful. But you know what, like it's fine. Like it's not like I'm not on fire with this idea. I don't love it so much that it's like setting me alight. I'm not desperate to finish it. And as soon as I decided I'm gonna frog it, I felt so good about that. I was like, yeah, you're gonna frog it. So I think this yarn is going to be repurposed into an 8-ball cardigan by Petite Knit. But that is not going to be designed for the foreseeable. And I'm going to come back and think about, like I really enjoyed the saddle shoulder construction. It taught me a lot about saddle shoulders. But I'm not going to continue with this one. The other things on the needles right now is the Webster sweater, and I've not made a decision either way with that one. I'm 100% finishing the current sample, and then I think I'm not loving the yarn. I'm using Holst Super Soft Held Double, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. And so what I think I will do is finish the sample and then make a decision about if I want to cast on a second sample, and then decide the future of that sweater. I think I love it. Like I know I love it, but it's currently in like black and white, and I think I want to make one in a colour palette which is a bit more me. So probably some like warm browns and creams, and I don't know, like something a bit more neutral. I know it's black and white, like how do you get more black and white than that? But and then make a decision. So yeah, I basically and it also means that I'm a bit more freed up now, that if something like this like takes over my brain and I'm like I need to get it out, then I've got the space to do that. I don't really need, like I'm not pursuing a career in pattern designing. I have a very fulfilling and busy full-time job that I need to be giving most of my attention to, especially right now. I've just started a new job with a new company, but I loved designing the Cargill. I loved the care. I love the way my brain works bringing out patterns. Like I love the seed of thought and how it sits there for a few days, and then the swatching and then the working at the yoke, and then like watching it all come together, and then the excitement. Like I love every single stage of that. And so that is, and I think my fear is like, oh, what if I don't have inspiration? And so I think with the saddle shoulder, I was like, I went out trying to like look for inspiration and like find inspiration, and I don't need to do that. Like what I can just do is just wait until it comes for me. And honestly, right now, like I say, this is until I have a month now basically until, like, I have patterns, test knit starting for the next month. I've got a lot of things I want to be knitting that are not my own designs. I've got a lot of wool to cast on and not my own designs, and I just feel so good about this decision. I've got 3 patterns. I've got Cargill Junior, I've got Care, and I've got this one coming. Webster I'll deal with at a later date. Frogging this other one, and then like really focusing on knitting for things that I'm really loving. Whether that is a new design that takes over my brain and it needs to be made, that's completely fine. But whether that is gift knit, I've got some gift knits coming up, or whether that's like a fun project for just the sake of it or whatever, I'm just gonna roll with it and just take the pressure off myself a little bit with designing. I don't know if that made any sense, but I feel so good about it that I'm glad to have gotten it out. So those are all my works in progress. Sorry, this is in my little bag. I'm gonna put this up over there. So I've got a little bit of yarn acquisitions. Oh, I knocked the bag. How good is this? This little ball of yarn came out of my... I need to frog the rest of the sweater, but I can't be bothered frogging it. So I'll just probably leave it there until I want to knit the next thing with the yarn, to be honest. Okay, I've got a little bit of acquisition. Yes, and then I think we're going to be almost done, and that's it, and hopefully this has all worked. When I first had a camera, the thing that bothered me was my camera would overheat a lot and I'd have to record in chunks, and currently we're at like an hour and my camera has not overheated, and it's just like sitting down and talking with my iPad but a higher quality, and I'm so pleased. Okay, let me gather up my acquisitions. So my first acquisition is my yarn I got in Ireland. It's by far the most interesting acquisition I have. I have yarn on the way. I have ordered quite a lot of yarn, I think. I feel like I have. Maybe I've not, but I feel like I have. And then we've had Royal Mail strikes, and so things haven't arrived. And so, oh, I got my new glasses yesterday, by the way. And I hopefully have a new pair. I ordered 2 at the same time. This is one of them. And one of them arrived yesterday. So I just feel like I've got lots coming to me in the post. Like my glasses, I've got yarn, I bought a new bag. So much coming. So I feel like I have more that I purchased than is here, but I will show you what's here. So the first thing is I went to This Is Knit in Dublin. I also went to Hanks in Belfast. It was a great local yarn store, but there wasn't very much. I guess I was looking for things which I couldn't get at home. Like I had to carry, we're only taking backpacks, so I'd have to carry the yarn around with me for 3 days. And I wanted to make sure it was something that I was willing to carry around and not that I could just order it to home. And so I felt like a lot of the stuff that I saw at Hanks was stuff like fibre spates and Holst, and there's some Camaros. I can get all that pretty easily here. So when we went to Dublin, we went to This Is Knit, and I picked up some yarn with the intention of making a cable knit sweater, and I don't know if I have enough to make a cable knit sweater, but anyway, this is the yarn. It is Studio Donegal, soft Donegal, and I don't know, I mean, is this camera good enough to pick up those flecks? Oh, you can see the yellow ones, but you can't really see the blue ones. Can you? Like, there are some yellow flecks in there, but there are some little blue flecks too, and they're so nice. So this is 100% merino wool. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. 190 meters. So this is the interesting thing. 190 meters per 100 grams. This theoretically should be the perfect yarn for my second sample. But I don't know if it is. Maybe it is. Maybe I should swatch again. I mean, if I could make my second sample in this yarn, I'd be absolutely perfect. I don't have to buy any yarn for it. Anyway, it felt much thinner than the other combination. So 190 meters per 100 grams. It is 2-ply. It is 3.6 ounces and 210 yards. So I have to calculate that myself. That's amazing. And it recommends a 4.5mm needle, which is exactly what I'm using. So maybe I should re-swatch with this, and potentially I have enough. I think I bought 6 skeins, so I think I have enough. How many meters? Yeah, I think that would be enough to make a second sample. Oh, maybe not if I size up. Sorry, you're getting a real play-by-play of my brain right now. I was really on the fence between getting 6 skeins and 7 skeins, and I told the lady in the shop this, and she told me that I'd only need 6, and I feel like she should have upsold me and made me buy 7. Because I came back and I was looking at some projects in this, and I think I need more yarn than I have. So I don't know, I maybe should look on the website and see if I can order a few more skeins, and that would just mean I have enough for anything I want to do it with. It is super soft, it's lovely. And yeah, I already have a little swatch knitted up. So yeah, I carried this home with me all the way from Dublin on the bus, on the ferry, no sorry, on the train. We went on there, we had one full day in Dublin. It was the day the pattern came out actually. You should have seen me. I was like walking around this knit being like, I am currently number 3 on Ravelry top right now. Like someone's gonna recognise me. Who do I think I am? I was like, let me just look at this yarn. Oh yes, that is me on Ravelry hot right now. No, of course nobody recognised me, because I am not anybody. I completely was like, I'm gonna get spotted. Someone's gonna know it's me. Nobody did. Which is good. A good thing for my ego, because evidently my ego was already too bolstered by everything else that it was a good thing. It was a good thing. So yeah, that's my first thing. I don't know, I know that there's a pattern by Tetty's Knit Garden which uses this exact yarn, and I think I have enough yardage for it. I don't know if I love that pattern. I'm not decided. I either love it or I hate it, and I'm not sure which. But yeah, I'm glad I bought it. I don't have any regrets, and I'm considering maybe I should try and buy another like skein or two before I cast on anything else. I don't know. Okay, I then placed an order for some yarn. So there are 2 things that came in this order. So I ordered from Linda Hobby, which is not based in the UK. They are, I want to say German, but I think I could be wrong. I normally get my drops yarn from Wool Warehouse, but Wool Warehouse was sold out everything for a long time, and I was impatient, and it's ridiculous because they now have everything back in stock, and I could have just ordered from here, and I'm not going to cast these things on right now, so I didn't need to have them immediately, but I ordered them anyway. So there is a new pattern called the Monica Scarf, and it is by Daniela, who is Yelly's Wonders. That's coming out naturally in my mouth, but I don't know if that's right. Anyway, it's a really cool scarf. It's a garter stitch intarsia scarf where you hold 2 strands of suri together to get this like really cool marling effect, and it has been designed in collaboration with Sakami. Sakami is a really amazing local indie dyer in Edinburgh, and I definitely, they have a, oh, was that yesterday? They have an update. Maybe that was today. Maybe it's tomorrow. I can't remember. And I think I will have a look at their Suri bases for that, because I think it's a really exciting knit. However, I had some leftover yarn, some leftover drops alpaca silk from when I made my, it's sitting right there. I made my novice cardigan, and I thought this is the perfect way to use up that yarn. So that's the colour I had left over. It is the burgundy. And then I've added an unusual colour for me, a pale pink and a grey. So my plan is to make the scarf with this. I think it's a pretty quick knit. It's on like 6 mil needles, and I think Yelly said, Yelly, her name is not Yelly, her name is Daniela, but it's Yelly. And I think she shared in her stories, it took her like a week to make a sample, although she was knitting on it like pretty much non-stop. But that's good to me, that means that I could probably knit it in a couple of weeks. I'm trying to get some stuff off my needles before I do that, but I am quite eager to cast this on. I need to cast on a Cargill Junior pretty quickly, but I think after that, oh, she also said this isn't a very portable project, so I've got a lot of travelling coming up, so I feel a bit weird travelling with this, because I can't travel with this, so I need to do it more like a bit home based. But I'm really excited to cast that on. I think it's gonna be fun, like a really fun project. I've not done it much in Tarja, but I've done any in Tarja. I don't think I've done any in Tarja before, so it'll be in Tarja for the first time. It's like fun playing with colour, but it's garter stitch. I'm really excited for it. Actually, I really want to cast it on now. No, I need to power through for another couple of weeks and finish off the Cargill Junior, and then I can cast it on. The other thing I ordered is some Drops Alaska, which is a pretty chunky yarn, and this is because I have started to think about gift knits, and I will be making the Semper Sweater man, and this is the colour I got. It is olive green. It's a bit darker than I wanted. It's a bit more like petrol-y colour, but I do think it's going to be a very versatile colour. So yeah, not quite the colour I was going for, but pretty perfect, and I want to start that in November. I'm only making probably, I might make some socks as well, but I'm generally only making a couple of gift knits this year, and one of them is a Zipper Sweater Man, one of them is a Ranunculus, which I already have the yarn for, and then one of them, I think I'm going to gift the current pair of socks I'm working on, and I want to make one more pair of socks. So I want to just not be, I really burned myself out on knitting last year for Christmas, and I want to just start early enough that it's not stressing me out. And so November I want to be casting this on, which I think is reasonable. I'm just trying to like think of things in advance before it gets overwhelming and stressful. And the last thing I ordered hasn't arrived yet, but I thought I would tell you about it because I've talked about this yarn recently. This is the Dyeworks sport weight. It is, yeah, it's sport weight. It's not got, I was checking to see if it had like a name or something, it's not. And this is the colour Obsidian, and I've ordered another skein of this and 2 skeins of one of their natural colours, and this is what I'm going to be making my 3rd sample of the Care sweater in. So I talked about this on my on the podcast, on the episode about 10 sweaters to knit for the next season, but actually I changed my mind and I'm not going to be knitting those things. I am in fact going to be knitting a Care sample. So I wanted to make, it's so funny because I wanted to make a dark grey sample forever. Like I knew I wanted to make a dark grey with white, but I was like, oh, I don't have the right yarn for it. Don't know, I'll use something I've got in stashed. And then I wanted to make a really soft version, so I used the Natura Gilead, no, Elise for the 2nd sample. But then I knew, like, I want to make one. My 2 samples are 110 centimeters, so I've got like 5 centimeters of ease. I know I want to make one with 120 with the deep colour work. I'll put a picture of the pattern here if you have no idea what I'm talking about. This is my pattern. It's currently in testing. It's coming out end of November. I've made 2 versions. Like, you'll see the green and the oatmeal colour, and I really want a grey version. And I was like, I kept thinking like I want this colour, but not. So I kept looking for this colour, and then I realised I have this colour. So I've ordered another skein of this, which hopefully will be like a similar colour lot. We'll see. I might have enough without that, to be honest, but I've ordered an extra skein in case, and I've ordered some natural too. So that is my final yarny acquisition. I want to get this skeined up and cast on pretty soon actually. I want to knit that in November as well. It only took me 12 days to make the 2nd sample, so I'm pretty sure I'll cast it on November and I will be fine. But again, I'm itching to cast it on. But I think I should probably finish something else before I cast that on. Okay, one final acquisition, but my battery needs to be charged. Okay, we've changed the battery. This is amazing. I am so pleased with this camera. I've had it for, it was like my goal was to sell enough patterns for the Cargill to be able to purchase a new camera, which I did. And it is a Sony ZV-1, if anyone is interested in that. I have been looking for quite a long time for a camera that would suit the purpose, and a lot of cameras I saw were very, very expensive and required lenses on top of that. So like they were going to be, I think they were going to be like £900 for the camera, plus probably the same again for a lens. And so I did a lot of research, and I asked my very diligent boyfriend to help out because he is so good at research. And you know, I don't want to apply gender stereotypes, but so many men that I know are so into researching products before they buy them. Like they'll read every review. They'll know exactly how it works. They'll have worked at the best in the market. Like they're so, my dad and my stepdad and my boyfriend are all so like that. So I asked him to help, and he came up with this, and I'm so pleased with it. So yeah, I'm just so happy. So it wasn't crazy expensive, and there are quite a lot of secondhand options. If anyone is potentially looking for a camera, this is Sony ZV-1. I would definitely recommend, and it is pretty nice price point. Like I think new it was like £700, which is still a lot of money, but not as much as a lot of the other ones I saw. Okay, my very last acquisition is some more needles. So I, for my birthday, was given by, again, said very lovely boyfriend, a set of Chowgu needles, which I keep in my Stockholm, oh, some of my packaging is coming in. Stockholm needle case from Mood Living, which again I got from knit.co.uk, and I really love it. I've been using them. At first I wasn't using them as much, and now like every time I cast on something new I go to reach for those. But I do find that the problem is that I use quite a lot of fixed circulars for my sleeves. This is my other needle case, my whiskey coloured one, and this contains all my Knit Pros. And so I have quite a few like little fixed Knit Pro Symphony circulars which I use to do any of my sleeves. They're just little wooden tips. But recently I go back to using those after using the Chowgus for the rest of the body, and firstly my gauge would be different, and secondly they weren't as sharp and it was bothering me. So I've been having a bit of a treat yourself month. I think with like the Cargill it's a bit more extra money that I probably wouldn't normally spend, and I was like, oh, like reward yourself a little bit. And so my camera was my big purchase, but and I bought 2 lots of indie dyed yarn. Like I bought 2 skeins from Stranded Dyeworks and 2 skeins from Ching Fibre. I didn't go crazy. And then yeah, my other thing was my little chowgy pouch. So these are the shorties, and to be honest, I wasn't that, like I didn't really get them. I don't understand the purpose of them. I never have them. I've already used them on 2 projects and I'm obsessed. So they come with this little, like it's all this tiny little pouch, and it comes with this, and you unclip it and it has shorty tips in a variety of sizes. So I've got the small, which goes from a 3.5 to a 5. So 3.5, 3.75, 4, 5 and 5. And you get both this size tip, which is, I don't even know what the difference was, this size tip, and this ridiculously tiny tip. And they are insanely good for sleeves. It just makes Sleeve Island like so enjoyable. So they come with the size that I had, the blue pack is the small. So the blue pack does a certain number of needle sizes. So for this it's like the 3 point, what did I say, 3.5? 4, yeah, 3.5, so a US 4 to US 8. And so they only come with these cables, which are the blue like flex cables. And I don't think, at least everywhere I looked in the UK, I couldn't get this size of cable with the red twist needles that I like. But the cables that it comes with, like look how small they are. Like look at that. It's so small. So it comes with these like blue cables. However, they do also join my red cables, which I use for the rest of my Chowgy set. So I can use them, the tiny tips, interchangeably with the rest. Oh, I'm running out of time already. My battery is charged, my time is not charged. So, let me keep going and see what happens. I don't know what's happened. I think something's changed. It's flashing 0 at me, but I don't know why. Anyway, well, that was interesting. I changed the battery, but my memory card was full. So I've shifted stuff over to my laptop so I can start editing, and we're filming again. It's a good thing. Like, it's an easy problem to fix, which is good. However, if the memory card is already full, I am terrified for how long it's going to take to upload to YouTube. Maybe you'll see this episode in 2 weeks when it finally uploads. However, the perfect thing happened. As it took maybe like, I don't know, 40 minutes, I think, half an hour to shift those over, I got a yarn delivery. I got 2 yarn deliveries. I also got my other pair of glasses, so you get to see both of them. Kind of a similar shape. These are the cheaper ones, and the other ones are the expensive ones, and I like the other ones more, which is nice. Like I would hate them to be the other way around, when if I like the cheap ones more, I'd just be annoyed. I also got changed because I meet my sister for lunch, so I thought I'll just use this time effectively and get changed while I wait. But yeah, I got 2 yarn deliveries and my glasses and some coffee, so like such a good postie. There are a lot of postal strikes happening in the UK right now, which are completely fine. They're striking for a very good reason, but it does mean that things are kind of a bit of a mess with the postal system, and so there was no post yesterday, so lots today. So the first thing that arrived is an order from Stranded Dyeworks. Now I am a big fan of Jude's podcast. I watch, I don't always watch, but I watch quite often, and I was really excited to be going to Glasgow School of Yarn because Jude will hopefully have a stall here, I think. However, I'm now not going to Glasgow School of Yarn because I'm going to the Netherlands instead. But I was really inspired by, I think it was the last podcast episode from Laura from Penrose Knits, who bought some like lightly speckled yarn for a sweater. I think maybe she's making the Monday sweater. I can't remember what sweater she's making, but she's like a speckled yarn. And I honestly, like, I just have lento on the mind, so I bought some yarn to make a speckled lento. This will be my 4th sweater quantity for a lento. Do I even need 4 lentos? No. Do I just keep buying yarn for it? Yes. It was also like, it was a shop update and I was in this like treat yourself mood. Anyway, this is the colour Patisserie from Stranded Dyeworks, and I've got 2 skeins of it, and the bit that really caught my eye is the speckle. So it's like it is a kind of a brown speckle, but there's some yellow and there's some red. You can see there's some like really nice red speckles. So it is a merino nylon fingering weight, 420 meters, so it's pretty lightweight. And I actually just thought about holding this with some white mohair, which I have quite a lot of like drops of mohair left, so I'll just hold them together and yeah. Oh, of course I dropped a skein while I did it. So that is the plan, although I need to get going with my lentils. But I think we're gonna have like a November lentil cowl, and honestly I think I should get 2 done in the cowl because I have so many lentils to make. My second, I just talked about how I had this yarn in post and then it arrived. So I'm not taking it out because it's packaged so beautifully, and also I made a mistake and under-ordered one of the yarns. So this is how the box came. Oh, it's from Beautiful Knitters. It's a yarn shop in London. I think it's maybe my favourite yarn shop that I've ever come across so far. I went to one recently. Oh, I also really like Be Inspired in Edinburgh, to be fair. That's also pretty perfect. But Beautiful Knitters, I think I like the selection in both equally. They both have everything I'm looking for and also something I'm not looking for. Beautiful Knitters are like the most attentive, chatty, lovely ladies, which I really like, because then you go in and you get to like chat about yarn and stuff, and who doesn't like chatting about yarn? So firstly I really want to make I think it's called the September hat from Petite Knit. I might make something else, but I really want to try brioche. I made a brioche sweater as like my second knitting project out of acrylic yarn. I never finished the second sleeve, but I knit like the whole body and the sleeve and the collar, and it was a September sweater. And I just feel like some brioche, like I feel like trying it. I feel like trying a new technique, and so I'm gonna make that hat. So I ordered some knitting for Olive because it's quite expensive, but if you can indulge, then the accessories are a good time to indulge. And so I ordered these 2 colours. So this is the mohair putty. No, it's powder, sorry. And this is trench coat. So they're a little bit different, but I think they'll marl really nicely. I meant to order 2 of these and I only ordered 1, so I'm going to pop another order in probably this afternoon for the extra one. I can get started, but I don't want to wait too long in case it's a different dye lot. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I think I have some things I want to cast on pretty quick. The Cargill Junior needs to be done pretty fast because the texture call will come out in like 10 days. Well, I don't have the yarn for it yet. I think it's going to be like a very intense week of trying to get the sample. I could honestly do a tester call without the sample because the pattern has been graded externally and tech edited, but I feel a bit weird doing that, so I need to do that pretty quickly. So that'll be a bit intense, and then I want to get on my care test sample 2 done. But I'm thinking I might this might come. I've got this trip to the Netherlands, and this might be a perfect project. Maybe a brioche hat for the flight. I'm only going for a couple of days, and I need to. I'm only taking a backpack, so I can't take a big project, and maybe this is perfect. And then the other thing was the yarn for my second care sample, which I also want to cast on soon. So the first thing I wanted to check, which I'm so delighted by, was Dyeworks. I bought this, which is my original skein, in February at Unravel, and this is my skein I just bought now, and I'm pretty happy with those. I don't think there's a massive difference in the dye lots. That's one, and that is the other. I think they're... I can't tell which one's which now. So that is really good news. So that's perfect. Like I said, I don't know if I need a second one, but I'm excited to have a it'll be a fifth one. I don't know if I need a fifth one, but I'm glad to have it in case I need it. I want to make it longer and it's going to be bigger, so honestly I probably should have just waited. I don't know if I needed it. I already have 1200 meters. I think I checked my yardages in the pattern. It did kind of like went up, but those are my calculations, so maybe I'm wrong. And then my contrast colour is going to be this one, which is called Sand. I think this is an undyed base, and it is really nice. So yeah, this is the main colour and this is the contrast colour, and that is exactly the look I was going for. I'm so excited. So I'm going to cast that one on relatively soon. I think my plan is to knit it in November, so I've got 2 weeks. So in the next 2 weeks I want to finish off my Dornie Sweater, which is my cables, and finish off my top down raglan, and then in November I'd also quite like to get the Webster joined at the subject with the sleeves in it. And then in November, oh my goodness, in November I will be knitting my second sample of the care, and also before then in October I've got to finish the Cargill Junior, which is not cast on yet. And then in November I want to cast on one of my gift knit projects, which is going to be the Semper Sweater Man, 2 lentils, probably, I'll do them separately, like one and then the second, and I mean, I really want to cast on a second cable knit sample, but I think I'll wait and do that along with the test knit, so I've got at least until, yeah, probably towards the end of December, probably the end of November, start of December. And I also want to, in November, cast on my fingering weight sweater. Oh, I really also want to knit a cloud bow top, like the short cloud bow. I want to knit a full length cloud bow, to be honest, but I think that's a bit far away. So yeah, I have plans. Okay, I'm gonna put these down. Oh, that looks so nice. I'm so pleased with this box. It just looks so beautiful, packaged up this way. I'm a bit sad that I'm not casting any of this on right away, but I will go and order, sorry crinkle, I will go and order the second ball of mohair today, so I don't forget. So yeah, that is everything in terms of the yarn. I think I finished showing off my chagos. I might have cut off when I said it, but ultimately they all fit perfectly. That's got the short tips in there as well. There's like a main zip down the middle, and my shorties are in here, so I can just fold them up and they're all there. So I love this. I really love this case. That's why I got 2 of them. Sorry, the end of this is a bit crazy because I stopped for half an hour and came back. The final thing is just a little bit of a life update. So life is going pretty good at the moment. I'm feeling really good. I feel I went to uni, and then it's so interesting. So I did uni. I was in university for 5 years. I did 4 years undergrad and 1 year of masters, and then I joined a charity which started again every year on the 1st of August. And then I left there and started my new job mid-September, and I've just started a new job the 1st of October, and so I really feel like between like August and September is a very like new beginnings time of year for me. And I find that at the end of summer I'm feeling a bit lethargic sometimes, and a bit like sometimes all I need is just the new season. I just feel a bit awakened by the crisp in the air, and the thought of autumn already starts to like encourage me and egg me on a little bit. But also I do find that I often start, like I say, for the past many years I've started a new school year or a new work year or a new job around this time, and so I'm feeling like I've got a lot on my plate right now, but I'm really enjoying everything I have on my plate right now. I feel like I'm really pleased with the decisions I've made about pattern writing for the next little while, working with a grader because I just don't have time to do it, but really just casting on what really brings me joy and not forcing designs. Like, just let the inspiration come, and I don't need to have a pipeline of patterns. Like I already have 3 things in my head I want to cast on that are like new designs, so I can just chill there and let them mull over and do what I want. I feel like I've hit the ground running with my new job. I have a lot to learn still, but I do feel like I'm in a good place with that. And yeah, it's feeling pretty good. We've been on a little holiday for a couple of Ireland was lovely. We were there for, like I said, 4 days, so 2 nights in Dublin, 2 nights in Belfast first. We got there pretty late, so we went pretty much straight to the Airbnb. The first night it was a really lovely Airbnb, and then the second day we spent pretty much the entire day on this trip around the causeway, which was again lovely. I'm not a huge fan of like bus tourist trips, but it was pretty good. And it was a very affordable way to do a lot of things and to see a lot, and also the guide was very informative, so that was pretty nice. I felt a bit like I was being like literally bussed around, like shepherded around like cattle, like, okay, everyone file off the bus, be back in 10 minutes, everyone file back on. But it was a really good way to see everything and a beautiful way to see the coastline and things. And then we just came back and had dinner that night. We were super tired, and then on our 3rd morning we woke up and went for a really nice breakfast. Did we go for a nice breakfast? I'm sure we did, but I can't remember what we had. We went for a nice breakfast and we got the train to Dublin. It's a 2-hour train, really nice train as well. And we got to Dublin, and I really liked Dublin, honestly. I thought it was really lovely. I had a really good time. We went out for some food. We went to a really nice vegan place called Cornucopia for some really tasty food, and we were both, again, super tired. I think it was tricky because I think we both needed a holiday. We were both exhausted, but also it was quite a busy holiday. So it was a kind of combination of like, we maybe should have not done anything, but we maybe did need the break. It was a bit strange, but yeah. Went out for dinner, went for a couple of drinks, and then on the Friday, it was such a lovely day. I released the pattern in the morning. I was awake as well, so I think that's the other thing that was a bit annoying, is that I was awake at probably 6 o'clock every morning, and I didn't need to be, there was no need to be awake that early, but I was quite, like I was getting final pattern edits done and pictures finalised, and I was just stressing about things, and I was like checking and double checking and triple checking everything. I also managed to upload the pattern to, I mean, I don't actually know when the page goes live, but I've seen other designs now that are live on Ravelry even though they're not released yet. My plan had not been to do that. Like I really wanted the page to go live the day of the pattern launch, because I also knew that I would feature in Spotlight, like I'd probably feature in the Spotlight patterns but for like the new designers, so it was likely that like I'd get a bit of traction if I appeared there. So I was like, wait until Thursday, and then on the day that we left for holidays, which I guess must have been Tuesday maybe, I think, or the Wednesday. No, it was Tuesday. I realised, somebody messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, your pattern is on the Spotlight, and I was like, this is not what I had planned. I think retrospectively, it was one of the reasons for the pattern success, because it was already trending like days before it came out, which worked out incredibly, but I was so stressed about it. So I was obviously checking numbers, and I could see that it had been uploaded, and I could see people already started queuing it, and I was getting comments about it, and yeah, I was just a bit stressed. And then we had the podcast episode going live. I was awake at like 6 o'clock every day of the holiday, on like trying to relax but not being doing a great job of it, and then in the evenings I was really tired, so it was a bit stressful. But it was the Friday was so nice. Woke up, released the pattern. I had it, my boyfriend, he can knit, and he has not made very many things. He's made me a hat, and he made one DK sock, but not the second sock. And when he first started knitting, he made a Ravelry account to view my favourites, to decide what to knit for me, which is the most romantic thing. I think it's amazing. But he has a Ravelry account, so I put the pattern live, and then the plan was I put it live and he would buy the pattern so that I could like test the flow and make sure it was all working. But by the time he'd purchased it, like 3 people already bought it, so I was like, this is amazing, this is insane. And then yeah, we went off and spent the day. We had such a good day. We made this list of all the places we wanted to see, and then we just prioritised them, and we kind of had a couple of like stop breaks. So we had a place where we stopped for lunch. We went out for breakfast. Oh, we went out for another vegan place for breakfast. It was really good. And then we stopped for cinnamon buns and coffee, and then we stopped for a beer. And every time we stopped, we were like, okay, are we feeling awake? Are we feeling tired? Do we want to go to the next thing? Do we want to relax? Do we want more food? Do we want more beers? What do we want to do? So we really made the most out of that day. And then I met some old friends who I used to live with in London, live and work with in London, and they're both in Dublin, so that was so nice to see them. And then the Saturday was our big long trek home. So the train from Dublin to Belfast, the bus from Belfast City out to the Stena Line terminal, the ferry from the Stena Line terminal back to, the ferry from Belfast back over to Stranraer in like the west coast of Scotland, the bus from Stranraer to Glasgow, which is like a 2-hour bus journey, and then honestly up until this point it was all good, and then there was a rail strike in Scotland right now. So what would have normally been a 50-minute train journey turned into be an hour and a half long bus. However, because there weren't any rail strikes, the bus queues were really long, so we booked on our bus and we got there and they'd already given our seats away, and we had to wait an extra 30 minutes. So at that point it was like, oh my gosh, just get me home. And that was on the Saturday, and the Sunday we just had a really quiet, chill day. And since then it's been pretty relaxing. I've got a couple of busy weekends. This weekend isn't too busy. Next weekend, wedding. Weekend after that, Netherlands. Weekend after that, I'm doing a really interesting course. I will be doing a course at Creative, which is a yarn shop in Stirling. It's a how to weave a tartan scarf in a day, or how to weave a scarf in a day, I think. So I am going to be taking the camera along and filming some footage, and hopefully speaking to them a little bit about it. They reached out to me about doing something with them, but I've paid for the course, so it's I don't know, it's not like gifted, but it is in a collaboration with them. They're doing some really interesting they're working towards some really interesting social causes, and I am hoping to do a little bit of like a interview style with them maybe about those causes, because I just think that would be really nice to spotlight. And of course I'm going to go and spend an entire day making a scarf, weaving. I've never ever done any weaving before, so I thought it'd be cool to take the camera, because now I've got a cool camera, and try and vlog a little bit of it. And yeah, that's the next couple of weeks. So it's really busy, but I'm feeling good about work. And yeah, that's a life update you didn't ask for. So this is going to be a long episode. If you stuck with it, then thank you. I hope you've enjoyed. I'd love some feedback on this setup if you like it. If you don't like it, I think I will have it a bit more smoothed out for next time. I realised that if I keep the episode under 1 hour and 6 minutes, I can film it all on one memory card, but that requires me to film under 1 hour and 6 minutes. So let's see if that's like the new goal, or whether I just buy a bigger memory card, hopefully. I mean, it's going to be the second one, isn't it? And yeah, I am gonna go with my sister. We're gonna get some tacos for lunch, which I'm actually really looking forward to, and then come home, do a little bit of housework, make some dinner, and knit all night. I think I should work out my swatch, my sleeves. That's what I'm gonna do. So I hope you have a really nice weekend, and I'm really looking forward to filming again in a couple of weeks. I will speak to you then. Now my voice is also telling me to stop filming, it's running out. I'll speak to you then. It's been so nice, and yeah, bye.